Hey everybody, it's Cazembe, Reiki Master, Tantra Practitioner, Dom, DJ, etc. How are you? It is Sunday night here in Atlanta, Georgia, and I want to continue with this male healing, these male healing videos and posts. I keep getting some great dialogue, great emails, people reaching out to me, great inboxing on my Facebook, and there's just so much to talk about in regard to this. So I want to continue. Um, the last video I posted was called "Opening Up." And it had actually had a small, short formula for opening up. So opening up equals acceptance plus vulnerability plus communication. And I want to talk today a little bit about acceptance. And acceptance starts with us accepting ourselves. I think that we live in a culture that unfortunately does not honor honesty and truth. What it does honor, however, it does honor those things that perpetuate the status quo in popular culture. So anything against that, it tends to reject that, unless it's going to offer something that can be monetized in a big way. But I think that a lot of the issues that people have in regard to a lack of acceptance really points back to themselves. You know, all this talk about being authentic and being true and honest and this and that, it's going to be impossible until we learn and see the importance of creating a space so that we can be true of each other. And that space, if you're talking about acceptance, it needs to be a space without ridicule and without persecution. I don't care what you're trying to do and how much you're trying to open up. If there is not acceptance, there will not be any opening up. If there is not acceptance, there will be no vulnerability. If there is not acceptance, then it will destroy and shut down communication. People close off if they feel that the finger is going to be pointed to them. People close off if they think that someone's going to tell them that they're weird or strange. I understand why people don't, however. I get that. Number of reasons. As I just said, I think it's societal. I also think that largely we are packs. We like to be a part of a tribe, a pack, a group. That's who we are. It's a lot of fear in many of us that we will be rejected, excommunicated, kicked out, forced out, left behind, rejected. Because for a lot of us, that's our reality. Who am I if I'm not connected to this group? Who am I if I'm not connected to this church, this job, my family, this group of friends, this organization? Who am I? Can I survive? And the answer is yes. And why do I say that? Because you are a microcosm of the macrocosm. So the thing that you should be concerned about connecting to the most is the Creator, the unseen, the all of the all, the source of all sources. It may appear that I'm talking a little bit ethereal here, a little too ethereal, but let me tell you why I say this. If you have certain desires in your heart, certain things that just simply will not go away, that was largely probably not put there by another person, by another group. It may have been ignited. It may have been something that was there in the back of your mind, and all of a sudden you experienced a person or another group that showed you, okay, I can do it this way, and then now it's certainly not going to go away. But I think that those initial feelings probably came from an unseen source. So our truth, in my opinion, is really about living authentically, which is about living in our divine nature. We get to that by peeling back the layers of the hurt, the pain, the anger, things that are of a low vibration. Doing something out of fear, and I mean fear alone, obviously, we do certain things and certain uses of fear is great, i.e., I need to work because if I don't, I'm afraid I won't be able to eat, or I won't be able to have a house over my head, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a little bit of anxiety that, of course, that propels us to do these things. That's fine. That gives us drive. That's fine. So those things I get. But to feel something in your gut, in your heart, deep down in your soul, and to not do it just because of fear and fear of rejection, fear of excommunication, whatever it is a problem. Now, obviously, these things that I'm talking about are things that are not hurting other people, things that are not harming or hurting or dealing with children of a sexual nature, things like that. Okay, so that obviously I want to make that clear. Okay. But you want to have a certain lifestyle, you want to do a certain thing, you want to embrace a certain people, you want to express yourself a certain way, and it's not going away. Guess what? It never will. It never will. You were born with that. You were born with that. Why? Because you're supposed to experience that. There's something that you're supposed to do with that. There's no doubt about it. If not, why would it be there? And again, I'm talking about after you have peeled away all the negativity. You're not doing this based on fear. This is not coming out of some sort of dark place. All this stuff, and it's still there. That's where your truth lies. Now, we as people, to allow people to get to that truth, we've got to create a space. Create a space so that people feel they can be accepted. To the extent that we don't, to the extent that we still have our own issues and things about ourselves which we are not willing to accept. I'm not saying that you have to take on everything and participate in everything that you see, but I am speaking out against condemning people of living a way that you're not living. I am speaking out against that because that could be very well be divinely inspired, and that's who they are. That is how God is expressing itself through them. Let them be who they need to be. Just like you are doing what you feel you need to do, I hope, without fear and living courageously and authentically. A lot of people think there is actually, I believe, a debate, and it's been going on for, obviously, for forever, in the LGBT community, talking about whether people are born gay or lesbian or bisexual or not, whether it's a choice. I believe people are born that way. I also believe at the same time that sexuality is far more fluid than we allow it to be, meaning that just because a man decides to sleep with another man and that he wants to marry a woman doesn't mean that he's gay, doesn't necessarily mean that he's gay, and doesn't necessarily mean that he's even bisexual, and also doesn't even necessarily mean that he's heterosexual. I've been hearing, and the same thing with a woman who has been with another woman and now wants to be married to a man. It doesn't mean those things either. And as a matter of fact, however, what I've noticed is that the woman is far more accepted for having that experience with the woman, as it is still allowed to be a straight woman, quote unquote. So she's still heterosexual. She just kind of did that in college or whatever, and that's fine. She was exploring. Well, men unfortunately are not allowed to have the same exploration, which is interesting and very damaging. When we have all these labels, it boxes us in. And what I've been seeing probably for the past more than 10 years, 15 or so, is people really rejecting these labels. They're rejecting all of them. Hey, I'm not bisexual because it means I can only do this. I can only go by these guidelines. Not necessarily straight because I don't want to, I may step out of these guidelines as well. I'm not really, lesbian or gay either because I may step out of these too. Not bisexual, I may step out of these. So it's, and I get it because what happens, you put yourself in a box, you've given yourself a label. Well, what happens if you want to do something outside of that label, outside of the definition of that label? Are you no longer that? Do you no longer belong to that group? Are you no longer valid or worthy because you're no longer a part of that group? Of course not. You're exercising your freedom as a being filled with spirit. You're exercising your freedom. And I think we really, really, really need to get to that. We need to allow people to be who they were meant to be. And oftentimes we don't know. That's between that person and the divine Mother, Father, God, Creator. People are so concerned, and I do understand this, because they're concerned about being rejected. They're concerned about being kicked out, whether it's the church, whether it's the family. I get it. I get it. Whether it's their community, I get it. But I think that the thing that we need to be most concerned about staying connected with is the Creator, that eternal sacred source. That source of which we are the microcosm, the macro, and this is the micro within us. We need to be concerned with that. And when we get to that, we truly figure out what that is. We need to hold on to it for dear life. We need to exercise it. We need to explore it. We need to investigate it as much as we can, because that's our truth. That'll lead us down our path, our destiny. And when that happens, we will get the lessons that we were supposed to get this time around. We'll get those lessons so that you don't have to repeat them. So I really want to encourage folk to leave these old understandings, which are really just misunderstandings about people who are different than them. Just leave them behind. They don't serve us. They don't. They never did. They never did. And when I see people that are not able to accept folk that have a different lifestyle or want to express themselves differently, it just reminds me that, oh wow, that person probably has some things that they have not accepted within themselves. And I don't care whether it's because of a religious doctrine, whatever it may be, a political stance, whatever it may be. And typically, if the person gets really enraged and too upset, then oftentimes they're upset because that very issue that person is trying to freely express, they've told themselves that they can't. And they're angry at that other person. How dare you express yourself and do what I've told myself that I can't do? And my response to that is step outside the box. There really are no walls. You've just drawn a box around you. Go ahead and just step on out. It's nice outside. Step on out. Bringing this back around to trying to get our men to open up. Women, please, 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 please be prepared and understand that experiences does not define gender. It doesn't make a man less than a man because he's been with another man. It doesn't make a woman less than a woman because she's been with another woman, and on down the line. And please allow these people, if there could be true healing, it's only going to happen when you can sit down from the opposite sex and have them express their heart, their truth, fears and all, desires and all, without judgment. That's the only way true healing is going to happen. That's the only way. That's the only way someone's going to be vulnerable to you and with you, is if you are open, accepting, and vulnerable with them. It's a synergism. It's a two-way street. It's reciprocity. It's the only way. I've heard people say things like, you know what, I would rather be lied to than to tell me the truth. There's something just so wrong with that. No one can be expected to live authentically if we're being lied to, if we want lies. But that's really what our actions really are saying. That's what this society is saying. This society rewards not honesty, not truth, but it rewards being part of the status quo. So I really, really, really want us all to just really truly embrace and understand what it means to be accepting. Just embrace it. And those places, those issues where we cannot accept someone else, I think is an opportunity to take a look at ourselves and figure out why. Folks may say, well, you know, being gay, being bisexual, all this LGBT stuff, blah, 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 you know, that's just not even a proper way of life. You know, that's coming from some aberrant behavior of the Greeks and Romans and this and that. That is absolute nonsense. Yeah, I said it. Absolute nonsense. If you are not familiar with this brother already, his name is Malidoma Patrice Somé. He's brilliant. He's got like 2 PhDs, 3 master's degrees. He's actually a shaman from Burkina Faso, of the Dagara people, which is kind of central West Africa. He's written a couple great books. One is called Of Water and the Spirit. And then I think the other one is The Healing Wisdom of Africa. Fantastic books. Get those if you're not aware of them. Fantastic. One of the things he talks about in his lectures and in his writings is that there is a place for those people who are different in terms of sexual orientation. There is a place. There are certain ceremonies where those people are called to oversee. There's parts of ceremonies that those people, that folks that deal in that way are called to oversee because their energy is considered to be different. They're kind of some gatekeepers is what they tend to call them, I believe. Gatekeepers. Because of that experience, they're able to exist in a couple different planes at once. There are also, you have this understanding of people who are different as well in regard to sexual orientation. They also have a place within some Native American people and communities. So there is a place. There is a place for you. If you are around folks that don't accept who you are, find your tribe. You deserve to find your tribe. A lot of those things that you have are probably divinely inspired. And you need to have that experience. There's something that you need to get out of that. Either there's something you need to receive. Well, there's both things. There's something you need to receive and there's something you need to give. And your soul will not be at rest, truly, until you do that. Period. It won't. You can try to deny it all you want to. You can, push it to the side. Whatever you want to do. It's going to be there. It's going to be there. So I want to encourage us to embrace who we are, and I want to encourage us to also please accept those who come to us who are looking to connect. Accept people for who they are. Stop trying to make them into something that they're not. Stop trying to require them to do something that they don't want to do. Just accept them just as they are. And once you do that, watch the healing take place. All right. Thank you so much. God bless. Peace.